Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features the Incredible Hulk issue number 385, cover dated September 1991. Now this is an Infinity Gauntlet crossover. The previous two issues also crossed over into the events of Infinity Gauntlet. In particular, the disappearance or death of half the people of the universe, including those on Earth, of course. So we saw the ramifications of that in the previous couple of issues of the title. But this is my favorite of the Infinity Gauntlet crossovers, any of them really, because it's a really interesting done-in-one story by Peter David. Now the cover is by Dale Keown, pencils and inks by him, including use of a little screen tone there as well for the shadows, light shadows on the Hulk and on this character here, whose name it is implied in the interior story is Gestalt. And we have the cover caption: an entire city goes on a wilding spree, and obviously this savage attack on the Hulk here is something to do with that, as well as this spiked club that this guy, interesting design, is wielding, including those talons or claws for fingers. So let's open this one up. It's an intriguing cover. Let's open it up to the splash page. And the title of the story is Dark Dominion. The creative team down here below: Peter David writer, Dale Keown penciler, Mark Farmer inks, Joe Rosen letters, and Glynis Oliver rounds out the creative team as colorist. Intriguing fisheye curved perspective here, looking up from the street of Manhattan up towards the moon here. It's nighttime, there are no lights on, and there's chaos in the city. And we have a biblical quotation from the last book of the Bible, Revelations: Babylon is fallen, that great city. So that in itself is portentous. Is this the last day? Little kind of 90s reference here on this guy's t-shirt, Doc Simpson there. Pretty funny stuff. So let's continue with the story, which is itself much darker in tone. And we have narrative captions. Half of Earth's population has vanished. The remaining half isn't taking it especially well. The dark things have risen up from the soul of man and enveloped the city. Or maybe the city has reached down from its towers, filthy from scraping the night sky, scooped up the populace in its embrace, and fondled it, squeezing out the evil. It's all the same to me. So this is first person narration. This weird, unassuming, geeky figure walking through the anarchy. All the same, and it all tastes so splendid. This is a great line from Peter David. Excellent blood, but it needs salt, like you find in a woman's tears, as he licks up the blood from the back of the head of this dead man. And that really is a creepy, horrific opening to this story. Love Glynis Oliver's palettes as well, those purples and blues and greens of the nighttime. And then the scene switches to Central Park. Interesting to see the deciduous trees here. It's almost like they're grabbing hands and talons and fingers. And we've got a trio of joggers. And one of them says, "I think we better be getting on back, Cindy. I hear all sorts of noises shouting." And she replies confidently, "Oh, Mac, you're not nervous. That's why I jog with the two of you, to have big, strong men." And she was about to say, "Protect me," but then she sees this, and they all see this huge crowd of vicious savages making their way towards them. Looks like a tidal wave, says Mac. Of people, says Cindy. Just a flood of them. So let's turn the page, see what happens next. It's not going to be good. And in the first person narration of this weird figure making his way through the chaos, they say the usual things. Wait, stop, don't. The best is when the one called Mac says, "Take the woman, just let us go." We laughed at that. Oh yes, we did. And we took the woman and took Mac too. We had a lot to offer him and a lot to give her. So really macabre stuff. Implication of violence, but also rape too. And then this guy with this grin on his face says, "Gods, is this fun city or what?" So let's continue. Where's the Hulk? Well, speaking of whom, meantime in the theater district, he manifests in a back alley and says laconically, "Terrific. I'm back where I started. the fate of the universe being decided, and I'm hip deep in garbage in Manhattan. So this, as I said at the beginning, and it's indicated on the front cover, is a tie-in to the Infinity Gauntlet 6-issue limited series running in the summer of 1991, and the Hulk has been in and out of events in the main title, but here he is back on Earth for the final time in his ripped jumpsuit. A very excellent anchor image there by Dale Keown, Mark Farmer. Let's continue. Always love this advertisement here. Jim Lee's Punisher and Spider-Man there. And the Hulk thinks of his wife, Betty. Is Betty okay? He asks aloud. I'd better call her in Reno and find out if she's among the one half of the missing people. I don't know what I'd do. Crack up probably. For all the troubles we're having, she's still my wife. Mine, he says. That means something. And this again is part of this intriguing ongoing characterization of this new version of the Hulk with the integrated personalities of the original Savage Hulk as well as the Grey Hulk and Bruce Banner. And so all of those personalities are all part of this unified psychology of the Professor. But here's this crazy limo driver. You're going to die, man. And of course, the Hulk is invulnerable to such a vehicle. Simply stands in the middle of the road as the front of the limo is smashed to pieces. And then a little joke, please. I'm soliloquizing. Driver looks in bad shape. He's bleeding. But my heart isn't, says the Hulk. Tried to run me over. You deserve what you get. And the blood-stained tires indicate I wasn't his first target, just his last. So he gets on the limo phone and rings Marlowe's number because that's where Betty's staying now. They're housemates. And the number's busy. And Hulk there says, chattering away, typical woman. But Marlowe's unconscious. She's fainted from seeing Rick disappear on the on the TV news. Now there's a typical woman for you, declares our first person narrator, who is his name will be revealed to be Gestalt. The city going berserk, danger all around, and she's out jogging just like the others. She's going to taste delicious. So there's this huge ravening crowd behind her. Catch the wave, you little tramp in your tight clothes, covering your muscular little body. You're asking for it. And then she turns around and it's Atalanta of the Pantheon. Not this time, she says. Not to me, not to anyone else. So she fires those energy arrows straight into the chest of this guy. Some sort of bolts. An energy plasma ripping into us, severing the power of the Gestalt. Pain and death all around. Run, you idiots. So Atalanta says, my brethren are in all the major cities fighting against inhumanity such as yours. I picked New York, and here's a little backstory concerning her, because my mother was in New York and murdered by vermin like you. Lethal forces to be used at our discretion, and my partner and I are going to be indiscreet. So her partner is the giant Ajax, who's infatuated with her, and he lies into the mob, and of course is throwing them around easily and stomping on them, including this chap here who begs for his life. No, don't hurt me, kill the others. I was just along for the ride. And then he's smashed under Ajax's huge foot. And we have a classic Linus Oliver trope, an open panel just coloured in blood red to convey the violence. And then we have a church in Manhattan. The anger, the hysteria, it's all in place. They've already torn up a few city blocks. What they need now is more direction. So Gestalt directs them to grab the priest. Let's show this outdated pudding what we think of the old god, he says. So let's turn the page. And Hulk is bounding around the city and says, I've heard about what can happen to a city during times of stress, the looting, the crazed behavior, but I've never witnessed anything like this before, he was about to say. So of course this comes in the wake of, I think I'm right in terms of the timing, the Rodney King beating in Los Angeles and the riots subsequent to that, and so Peter David could be thinking of those. In particular, they were topical at the time, for his characterization of what's going on in New York City here in the wake of Thanos' finger snap. And Hulk spots the burning pyre down there. Something's burning down there, and the stench of, oh my lord, he says. So he drops down, sees the priest tied to the cross, and atop the cross there is this unholy monster. You'll have to do better than that, Father. I've got all night, he says, and you'll just have hot cross buns. But Hulk arrives. Oh, excellent. Now you're praying, says Gestalt. And how, Father, do you think God will help you now? An avenging angel, perhaps? And that's when the Hulk arrives to knock Gestalt off the top of the cross and free the priest. You okay? He asks him. For a moment my faith was sorely shaken. And Hulk can't resist a quip. Yeah, well, at least you weren't shaken and baked. That's a really nice anchor image there of Hulk holding up the cross and gathering the priest there, having saved him. Pretty nice imagery. Now, this is an interesting double page spread because in the middle of it we've got this advertisement insert, and it looks like Peter David has worked around that. So if I open up or if I pull up the ad, which is on glossy stock paper, you can see there, I hope, that Dale Keown devised a double page spread with an anchor image in the center of Hulk punching Gestalt. But this ad is in the way, so Peter David has scripted the page, so we read this page first and then the next page. I think that's really, really interesting stuff. So let's go through it. I like this line, this form of address. Hello, Green Knight. I am all powerful. I am Gestalt. I am the city. And the Hulk replies, I am Bruce Banner. I am the Hulk, and I'm going to take you apart for doing this to these people. Gestalt lifts him up. I'm not doing anything to them, Hulk. I'm doing it for them. A subtle difference that I don't expect you to understand. And then we see how Peter David has scripted and dialogued this page differently, even though for Keown it's a double page spread. I'm momentarily distracted by the waves of ebony pleasure that caress me. The Hulk takes that moment to try and dislocate my jaw. We don't feel it as he kicks Hulk, and Hulk is knocked into this rubble here, or this timber rubble. But you can see there how originally it was Dale Keown's design to have Gestalt throw Hulk into that wood pile there rather than to be kicked into it. So intriguing how a problem arose because of this advertisement. Peter David must have known about it and was able to script the pages to make sense of them page by page. So let's continue with the story, get past these advertisements. And here we've got a nice vertical anchor image of Gestalt there with his eyes glowing red and his huge spiked club. Wrong, I'm the solution, he says. I'm throughout the city. I'm throughout all the cities. In all places where greed is the door and violence the key. In all places where humans are compressed into heartless, thoughtless ciphers, trading their lives for mere existence. So he's almost like a personification of the dark side of urban environments and city living. And you can see his club blow at the Hulk be mirrored by these other moments of violence elsewhere in the city. You've no idea, Hulk, what you're dealing with, he says. But Hulk grabs the bat or the club. Is that a fact? He replies. And so here we get another cool page in terms of the colours. Like, look at the way that Glynis Oliver is colouring this guy here with his purple face. He's getting darker and more monstrous in appearance. And Hulk says, by way of counter-argument, I've seen humanity from both sides, and mister, you aren't in the equation. If anyone doesn't know what he's dealing with, it's you. So he grabs the bat, grabs his hand around the bat or club. I think I do, says Gestalt. I'm in the shadows and the buildings and the people. I'm in the darkest thoughts and deepest wants. I give to them, they give to me. This is the night of death's dominion, the city's last gasp. So this is real duality of man stuff, the Jungian thing, the shadow. That's what Gestalt represents, the dark side of human beings. And here we get this trio of panels where Hulk is grasping the club around Gestalt's hands and squeezing, so the club is beginning to fracture and break. But I think that this, and this is a minor criticism, there's a slight weakness in Dale Keown's visualization of this little scene, because it looks like Hulk's fingers are just resting on Gestalt's hands. There's a little bit of an implication of pressure there, but not enough. So I think that this is a series of panels that could be redrawn in order to show more tension and pressure in the Hulk's grip on Gestalt's hand and the bat. Hey, Hulk calls out as the mob crowds around him, "Get off me, what is it with you people? Have you lost your minds?" Gestalt, delighted, says, "Not lost, give them to me, surrender themselves to donate their precious troublesome individuality to the exquisite protection of the mass of the Gestalt." And interesting here how the kind of the psychology that underpins this exchange between the Hulk and also between and in respect of what Gestalt is saying is very, very how will I put it, discernible, in particular on social media, with social media pylons and so on and so forth. I'm not on any social media, so it doesn't affect me personally. I think social media is an awful time suck, but I do observe how this kind of thing happens, where people pile on other people in order to shame them or just enjoy the self-righteousness of censuring someone else for their infraction of whatever moral code or code of taste, let's say, for example. So all of this that Peter David is putting into Gestalt's mouth and exploring in this particular issue is observable to this day. So this particular issue stands up. "Let them go," demands Hulk. And Gestalt says, "I can't. They wouldn't have it any other way. They know this is their last night. The sun will never rise again, which means they're free. No consequences for their actions. Free to satisfy their every nasty little whim, their every darksome wish. Morality is the day-to-day rule book. But when the game is to be played no longer, it's time to toss the rule book away." So Hulk now has the club. "Rule this," he says, as he bats him and starts smashing that spiked club right into the guy's face. Oh, and the guy is delighted. He's like a sadist, a sadomasochist, I mean. Yes, oh gods, oh, this is transcendent. This is everything I could have hoped for. The blood, it's everywhere, it's mine, it's exquisite. The taste, and I think I'm in love. Finally, I've found one to be with me forever," he was about to say. So this is really disturbing, perverted stuff here. Oh no, not the daylight. It can't mean, but I was so sure that it was the final night. So the sun is rising. Lovely colours here to indicate that from Glynis Oliver's palette too. That the great sword was to descend, that it was to be the last day. Apocalypse, Armageddon. It can't be over. It felt so good. And then Thanos' finger snap is reversed, and Rick is comes back to life just at the moment he died and blinked out of existence, where he was bemoaning the fact that he had a gig on, I forget if it was Tuesday or Thursday. I think it was Thursday. So Hulk sees him. "Rick, whoa, I was dead," says Rick. "I know, what did you see?" "I saw Elvis and he looked great, man." That's a really great little exchange, and the look on Rick's face too, that's really expressively drawn. His bafflement and confusion and befuddlement there on his face, really well done by Keown. So we're coming to the end of this issue. You can see here how maybe Keown was up against the deadline to get this one off to Mark Farmer for inking, so there's less detail here in the backgrounds. And Rick continues talking about what he saw in the afterlife, and Hulk says to him, looks like everything's back to normal except for one individual who was here and now he's gone. And you see how that spike club has turned into a stick with a couple of nails run through it? "What's with the stick, Bruce?" asks Rick. "Nothing, it's just a stick. What else would it be?" But we see the blood on the ground, so Gestalt was really there. But what exactly was he? And then we get, and this is really good by Peter David, we get the aftermath of Atalanta and Ajax defense of innocence in Central Park, and the death of that guy that Ajax stomped on, and his mother has found his body. He was a good boy, she exclaims, a good boy. Why did this happen? Why? And you can see that Atalanta there has a conscience at least. Look at them all walking around with their heads hung, ashamed to even look at each other, says the Hulk. And I love this judgment of his then. Disgusting. Because again, this is part of the way that Peter David is characterizing this new version of the Hulk. He's superior. He's confident. He's possibly moving into the territory of Ubermensch. Maybe too far superior and above ordinary human beings. That comes out in his censoring judgment there. Rick here doesn't know the full story. Yeah, look, Bruce, if I could get one question answered, since I'm kind of fuzzy on all of this, namely, did we win? So what will the Hulk say to that? Well, when I was hurled back there, Thanos was still, oh, this business in the city, you mean? With all the wreckage? Well, I'm not sure. So they walk off into, well, it's not the sunset, it's the rising sun, but it looks like it's the sunset there. If what I faced was some sort of mutant that siphoned off dark feelings and violence, and now he's gone, then yes, we won. On the other hand, if what I faced was drawn from the hearts and minds of humans, waiting to be unleashed again, then no. At best, we call this a draw. And that's what it was, more or less. So next, Achilles versus Hulk, Israel and Sabra versus the Hulk, a great t-shirt, a musical interlude, all in Little Hitler, and there is a little reproduction of the cover of the next issue. So it's it's interesting rather, to see Keown's detailed art reduced to this particular size. There's Little Hitler in question. One page of letters here concerning primarily issue 381 of the Hulk that revealed Agamemnon and gave us more information on the Pantheon, introduced us to the Pantheon and their mission. And there you go. I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on an issue I've always loved of the Incredible Hulk, this done in one story, this exploration of the dark shadow side of human nature, the duality of man, as Private Joker calls it in Full Metal Jacket, the Stanley Kubrick film, and this freaky figure, Gestalt, maybe born of the collective human unconscious. That would be the Jungian explanation. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comment section. If you enjoyed my review and commentary, please like and share the video. It really does help the channel. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.